Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I have the following definitions of what old really is. Old is when you are cautioned to slow down by the doctor instead of by the police. And here's my favorite. Old is when getting a little action means you don't need to take any fiber today. Morning, here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning on a Monday. Call in, call in. And a good morning to you and your family. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell. And thank you for tuning in. Our major sponsor, of course, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and a big fall tire sale going on right now, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Right now, without further ado, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Doug, call back in a few minutes. I'm going to be in a subject that I think absolutely I'd like your opinion, so we appreciate the pledge. Thank you, sir. All right, take care. And thank you. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch, and right now it's time for our weather. And the weather brought to you by K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn. Hello, Roger and the crew. They've already been there for over an hour. They open up at 7 in the morning till 5:30 at night. And they're open Monday through Saturday. Stop in and see them today for all the tools, all the equipment, from forklifts all the way to lawnmowers. Man, they can and they will help you at K&R Rental in Heyburn. And right now, here's the weather forecast.
Looks like the air quality advisory has finally been lifted as the smoke is pretty much gone from our area, which is nice. And it's going to be beautiful for today, tomorrow, but maybe a slight chance of some thunderstorms and rain showers as we get closer to the weekend. For today, sunny skies, high of 87, and for tonight, clear skies with low of 58. Tomorrow, sunny and 88. Looks like tomorrow night a storm is going to be moving in. Slight chance of thunderstorms and rain showers with a low of 60 for Tuesday night. And that's going to carry over for Wednesday and Thursday as well. Thursday, 50% chance of rain showers in the forecast with only a high of 69. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. I appreciate it. And brought to you by K&R Rental. These guys and gals over there ready to serve you with all the equipment you need. And they'll deliver and pick up the power tools and heavy equipment right to your site. Don't forget, they've been in business since 1979, serving you. K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn. Number to call, 678-3122. You know, I want to say, first and foremost, we've got a really busy program today and a lot of great guests. We've got Dr. David Cole, we've got Robert Romano, we've got Pacific Legal Attorney Brian Hodges, and at 10:32 this morning, we're going to have Marty Mickelson. I am teaming up with him, his son from Utah State University, and we are absolutely going to be helping the people in the great greater Houston area. We're going to explain the whole thing and how we want you to help at 10:30 this morning. So please be listening. And I think it's going to be a little unique, and I hope you'll help us. That's at 10:30 this morning. Daryl's Cleaners, my goodness sakes, thank you very much for all you do at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Oh, my, they're up and at 'em already this morning. Cleaning clothes, and you may not know this, washing clothes. That's right, they wash, dry, fold, and iron all your clothes. You just stop in with your bag of Rumply Crumplies, and they'll take care of them. Absolutely the best cleaner in the area. Anywhere, anytime, Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You stop in and see those really, really good folks today. Daryl's Cleaners, they're really good, friendly folks, and I've enjoyed going in there for the many, many years. Now, a little public service announcement here tied into a commercial. We are going to be over at Ramsey Heating and Electric on this Thursday for our Hats Off to Farmers and Patriots Week celebration and commemoration. And today, of course, 911, we're going to be talking about that in just a few moments. But I want to urge everybody to be there early on Thursday at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, because George Mass, Donna Mass, they're going to have their trailer there and be serving breakfast. And the proceeds are going to help our Zeb Christmas Corral, where we take the funds and help needy families at Christmas time. So, and also some of the funding we're going to try to divert down to the Houston area to help with the floods. So we urge you to come by and have breakfast with us on Thursday morning, Thursday, I got to correct myself, at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Open at 7:30 in the morning till 5 Monday through Friday. For all your heating and electrical needs, they are the best. Been in business for over a half a century. Ramsey Heating and Electric. Really good people. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Here are some of the birthdays. We've got a whole pile of them for this week. Yesterday, the old man had another birthday, and that's George Mass. Happy birthday to George. Today, Don Craner, great guy, good friend, D. Craner, having a birthday, as is Bruce Qualley at Qualley's TV and Electronics. So happy birthday to everybody. We appreciate you. By the way, too, Denny's Restaurant, we had a call the other day after I got off the air, and a lady said, we're new to the area, where is Denny's? And I told her where it was, and she said, what's this about a Zeb's Lunch Bunch? And I told her that once a month we have a gathering over there, and she said, well, we're sure going to try to make it. And I said, well, you're welcome. They said, do we have to pay anything, membership? I said, no, just show up and enjoy with us. And that's at 611 North Overland in Burley, and another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Holy cow, the food is fantastic. The service is great. Nice people at Denny's Restaurant. It is America's Diner. You stop in, you're going to love it. Denny's Restaurant in Burley and Twin Falls. Okay, this is a hard and tough morning to remember. 911 brings so many memories, and they don't seem like they've slackened over the 16 years. I can remember vividly where I was. I can remember vividly what I was doing. And I can remember vividly feeling like, oh my goodness, what just happened? I was in this studio taking notes for my program. And my wife walked in, and she in haste said, a great big plane just hit the World Trade Center in New York City. And I thought, whoa, how could they get off course like that and have something happen like that? And I said, well, just a minute, I'll be right out there. I was finishing some of my notes for my program. And I went out in the living room, and I took my notepad, and I was writing down notes, listening to what the commentators were saying on the air. And all of a sudden, and I never will forget this absolutely horrendous sight, looping around tower number 2 was another jet airliner, and it just smacked right in to the tower. I can never, ever forget that image, nor do I want to. And here we are in a country that has been totally disrupted, totally torn apart by idiots like Black Lives Matter, Antifa, neo-Nazis, etc. The small, petty stuff. Petty. Ridiculous. And you think back to 9/11, and you think about the horrendous airplanes crashing into the towers, and then later the towers coming down to the ground in rubble. You think about almost 3,000 lives lost. You think about the plane that hit the Pentagon. You think about the plane that came down in a field with real heroes aboard with other terrorists. There's a lot bigger fish to fry than worrying about Antifa and groups, pathetic groups like Black Lives Matter. What are your thoughts as we all should remember 9/11? And you know what? Some people might be offended by this, but it's the way I feel. And I said this last year because I checked some of the transcripts. I wish every single television network and I wish every single TV studio would replay the absolute 100% footage of these planes hitting our towers. Caller, I'm going to ask your indulgence. Stay with me just a moment. I have to pay the bills. I want to remind everybody about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Had it not been for them, and I mean this when I say this, I would not be back to the shape I am today. And I mean that in 100% because they helped me with a lot of exercises. They helped me. I walked 1,000,000 miles in that hydrotherapy pool, and it really stimulated and got my muscles back working again. And I really appreciate them. You will too. The best of physical therapy, the best of people, the best of knowledge right there at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Call them for an appointment today. Don't you dare put it off. 678-1191. They can and they will help you get back to being you. Caller, I'll be there in just 30 seconds. Stand by. I also want to remind everybody about Autumn Haven. Oh, my goodness. We are blessed on this program to have a lot of really, really nice people on our show. And Autumn Haven is one of them. Assisted Living Center at 924 Christian Way in Rupert. Number to call, 436-3200. They make every effort to make Autumn Haven the best place, and they're the only assisted living facility in the Rupert area and really provide more one-on-one care. Call them today. Find out more. Stop in, 436-3200. Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center, 924 Christian Way in Rupert. And they say they're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Thank you for your patience.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, on this memorable day, my wife and I were on our way to Salt Lake City to go to the auto auction, and we were just about at Brigham City, and we were listening to KSL radio, and the announcement came in that a small plane had hit one of the Twin Towers.
Uh-huh.
And we were thinking about what a tragedy that was and the loss of lives and things like that. And as we drove on, it got worse. And then pretty soon it was a second plane. And we arrived in Salt Lake and went to the auto auction. That's something you is very hard to interrupt because people spend millions of dollars buying cars that day and the time they had to fly in there and everything else. So the auction continued, but they would give us an update every once in a while of what happened. And,
yeah.
You know, there's something about being around the people that you know, and they're also auto dealers, and you have a camaraderie there.
Yeah.
And you felt safe. But what a tragedy that has been.
It was a tragedy.
The rest of my life, and so will my wife.
It wasn't just a tragedy, it was a travesty. It was an absolute attack on American soil. It was an attack on Americans. And I just wish, honestly, I mean this from the pit of my soul, I wish that we as Americans could sit down, whether you're Democrat, whether you're Republican, whether you're a millennial, whether you're an old man like me, and just sit and remember how great this country is and how absolutely devastating an attack was on our freedom. It was an attack on our people. It was an attack on our sovereignty. It was an attack on our morals and our values, and we could come together again. We could if we tried.
And we did.
All right, Keith, I appreciate your call, my dear friend. God bless you and Nancy, and thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you, sir. I want to talk to you about our schools and 911 in just a moment. Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service. Hello, Scott and the crew. 336 South, 450 West of Paul. Number to call, 431-8733. You better look outside the window and look at those trees. Oh, boy, there's a dead branch over there. There's a halfway broken off branch there. Woo! Wind comes along in the wintertime. It's going to sail that right through your kitchen window. You better check with them for all the pruning of your trees and the stumps ground out and dug out of the ground. They can do it all. And also, now's a great time to think about installing a new sprinkler system for next year. Get a hold of them today. Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service. Absolutely the best at 431-8733. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Just like to call in and maybe give a little bit of where I was at 16 years ago at 7:46 in the morning.
Yes.
When it hit the Twin Towers. Idaho Potato Commission, and I was on my way to New York City for the Idaho Potato Commission, as 9 of us were going to be there on the 110th floor of the World Trade Center at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on that day. And we were going to go for food editors and magazine slaves. And I was on that flight, and pretty soon they turned around. Pilot did, and got us back to Salt Lake City. And I'll never forget, as I walked into the Salt Lake City airport, and I looked on those monitors, and I seen those airplanes that had hit that, and those, the devastation of those towers. And as I tried to reminisce on that, I could not get a flight out of Salt Lake, not a flight, but a car out of Salt Lake City to get back to Twin Falls early. I thought to myself, this is a tragedy I'll never forget in my life. As we were there waiting, people from Sweden and France, that airport was jammed with people, but there was no noise.
Yeah.
It was quiet. Everybody was, reminiscing about where their families were and one thing and another. Anyway, it was just a tragedy. And then as I called my son and asked him from Oakland to come and pick me up because I couldn't get a rental car, and we took some people back to Twin Falls. And then the odd part about this is my wife, Diane, had a funny feeling set for 2 weeks before. She said, I'm not going to go to New York with you, Kent. No, I'm just not going to do it. I don't have a good feeling about this. And I thought, well, what's so wrong? And then that morning as I left early to hit the Twin Falls to catch that real early flight, She says, I'm not going. I said, well, still have your ticket. I tried to hope the potato commission has bought it. She said, I'm not going. I don't have a good feeling about it. Our daughter called her when I was on that flight and said, Mom, where's Dad? She said he's on a flight to New York City at the World Trade Center. They're going to have that dinner this afternoon.
Hold your phone, really, sir?
And then, of course, she was devastated because we didn't have cell phones.
Sir, hold your phone really still. Hold your phone really, really still, sir. Hold your phone as still as you can.
We're going to do our dinner
Yeah.
in the afternoon, a luncheon for those food editors and magazine writers.
Yeah.
Got a toothache. And he went down just before they had a breakfast for some other people on the 110th floor, this whole crew of 90-some-odd people. He went down to get a tooth fixed because he had a toothache and he wanted some medicine. And those airplanes hit that 110th floor. And every one of his staff were killed and destroyed.
Wow.
And he was saved, of course, because he was downstairs. But I'll never forget it.
Absolutely.
Something that my good friends from Castleford and Rupert and Eastern Idaho and Boise, with 9 of us that was going to be there, we'll never forget that. None of us. We were going to be there, but we weren't.
Yeah.
I'll hang up, Zeb, to tell you that I do have special feeling about that. Thank you.
God bless you. God bless you. Wow. I don't even know how to follow that conversation because I absolutely can relate to what he said. One, I've said this story before. It's a short story, and I thank that man for calling. That was so nice of him to share that with us. But Deanne and I, a couple of years prior to 9/11, had made a friendship with a gentleman that was a Long Island police officer. And when I was back in Gladstone, New Jersey, I had announced for about 5-6 years the World Equestrian Finals and some of the United States Equestrian Team events back in New Jersey. And short story, the gentleman that we became friends with that was an officer on Long Island, New York, his son had passed away by running back into the towers. He was a police officer in New York City. Running back into the towers, trying to help and save others getting down the stairs. There's so many stories like this as a remembrance of bravery, heroism, and yet treachery and terror on 9/11. Caller, I'm going to ask that you stay on the line for just a moment. I'll be right there. Please bear with me. And I'd like to remind everybody about Barry Equipment and Rental. Don't forget, Barry Equipment and Rental, 3 locations: Jerome, Twin Falls, and Burley. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. They do have all the equipment to get the job done right. They've got all the Bobcat excavators, new and used, for sale or rent. All shapes and sizes. I need to get one. You can get one. And if you don't know how to drive them, like I don't, they've got a big sandbox out behind. They'll give you a kind of a crash course. Bad word right there. But anyway, stop over and see them today. Barry Equipment and Rental. Sales, service, and parts. South Lincoln in Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin, and, of course, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Thank you very much, Barry Equipment and Rental. Don't forget, on Thursday, we're going to be over at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley for our Hats Off to Farmers and also our Patriots Week's commemoration. And we urge you to be there, 7 o'clock. We're going to have breakfast out in front of the store, and the proceeds from that are going to go to help our Zeb's Christmas Corral for helping needy families. And then we'll be broadcasting all morning over there at, of course, Ramsey Heating and Electric, and they're located at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Caller, good morning, and thank you for your patience.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. Zeb, I really feel that we haven't learned a whole lot from 9/11. We've got a long way to go before we understand what's happening. we're more concerned, or at least our government is, about the rights of these foreigners that are pouring into this country. We don't know who they are. We don't know how much damage they're going to do, how much more. And we're more interested in giving them the welfare, giving them everything, welcoming to America, giving them all the freedoms, and giving them the vote, the right to vote, and to vote our people out of office.
Yeah.
This country is in a terrible shape right now, but I guess there's a lot of people don't realize how bad it is.
You know, I just don't understand what happened that we can't have pride in America. I don't understand where all of a sudden the millennials and many of even the age bracket under me and our own age bracket, they have forgotten about this great country, America. And I don't understand how come we're letting the left tear it apart. I don't understand groups like Black Lives Matter and Antifa and these stupid neo-Nazi groups, etc. I don't understand, Tony. We've got the greatest country ever in the world, and we see everybody trying to tear it apart and denounce it and fragmentize it. It makes no sense to me.
Well, these people that want to, like the millennials, not all of them, but a great number of them, don't understand what's going to happen. If this bunch takes this country over, these millennials are going to have things happen to them that are happening over in their country right now, like beheading. Either you join us or you're going to die.
Yeah.
Evidently they're not aware of what the outcome is going to be if these people end up taking our country over.
I totally agree with you, and I don't know what to do. I just am at the end of my rope in trying to instill more of American pride. Those are two words that absolutely I will not quit preaching and harping about. American pride. Tony, God bless you and Mary. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
You know, I'm going to do something here that I don't normally do, and Deanne's out in the other room. But I am going to defer having the cookie giveaway this morning, just purely because of the nature of this first hour of the program. And I'm going to do it tomorrow in regard to Sophie's Chatterbox, and take more of your calls at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I think that every single school system, I think every single teacher should get up in front of the class this morning, and for maybe in a high school situation, every single class that they speak to today, and mention 911 and the bravery, the heroism, and the American pride in this country. I heard something on Saturday that just honestly, I slammed my fist down so hard, I almost broke the stand next to my lazy boy. When I heard a commentator say that, well, most of the teachers don't want to mention it because they don't want to create any ill feeling, they don't want to bring up any bad subjects, and they don't want to tell the kids something that most of them weren't alive to even know about. What? What? You know, the problem I see a lot of times in schools today are teachers maybe 28 to 30 years of age. They were early teenagers when this happened. And maybe they, the teachers, don't want to take the time to really inform themselves as to how great a country this is and how great a loss that was. But when I heard that this one school and some of the we don't want to take the time, and we don't want to create kind of an aura of negativity in the class. Create an aura of negativity. We had terrorists, Islamic terrorists, trying to kill us on 911. And things haven't changed much today. Every class, every teacher, if they have that word behind their name, should stand up and say something about the horrendous events on 9/11. I honestly think that everything should be shown. I think the tapes of having the jets hit the towers should be shown. And absolutely let it sink into these youngsters that that was an attack on the United States of America, and it killed nearly 3,000 people, over 3,000 people, in a blatant attack against our ideals, our country, and our flag. Unfortunately, liberalism probably will shelter our kids. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Well, I have just a moment waiting for your phone call, and I really would appreciate your phone call. Where were you, and what were you doing? I know that whole day I was on the air, and then intermittently we went to the networks for updates, and then I called many people in New York and around the area that I knew back there personally, and I had them come on the air and talk about what was happening. It was a day that I'll never forget, nor should I. I want to say thank you to Scott Jackson Trucking. These are the industry experts, and believe me, they are now offering employment that really offers competitive wages, benefits, and doesn't lay off in the so-called slow seasons. These are a team of professionals at Scott Jackson Trucking, and they'd love to have you apply for a job with them. Just a phone call away, 324-3004 for more information. Let me repeat that number again, 324-3004. You got to put the 208 prefix in front of it. Don't forget to give them a call. Really good equipment, and they've got veteran people, lots of knowledge, and they can help you with employment opportunities at Scott Jackson Trucking. That number again, 324-3004. You call them today. All right, give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Real quick, I have, and I mean this, I've got my preference over a lot of businesses as to who I do business with. And that's why on this program you can rest assured that I've done business with each and every one of them, and I trust them. We had some major problems with our septic line and septic tank, and we called Harris Plumbing NG. Nathan Harris at 630 Dion Street in Burley. The number to call, 431-8633. I honestly mean this. I have never been treated as good or professionally as what they did. They took care of the whole problem, and I guarantee you we are happy campers. The absolute professionalism of their job, the dedication to perfection, you don't want to call anybody else. I'm telling you, Harris Plumbing NG, absolutely the best. In Burley, the number to call, 431-8633. Nathan and his staff, absolutely the best at Harris Plumbing. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Where were you? I watched the bravery again this morning. I really credit Fox News for running the tapes of what happened with the jets hitting the towers, not bleaking it out or trying to cover it up. They showed it the way it was. They showed the bravery of the firemen and the police and the quick responders. They were running to the problem to assist and help others as everybody was running away from it. And I'm going to be really honest with you. It scared me, because my son is a fireman. And I know his dedication to his work. I know his dedication to the others that he works with, the brotherhood. I know his dedication to serving others. And when you think about all the firemen and the police and the quick responders, first responders, that were there to aid and assist, that did not get out, it's a very scary and hollow feeling. We should absolutely remember 911. We should absolutely show and tell everything about 911 and not hide it or cleanse it away from our history. Your thoughts, please give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What I am afraid of the most, I think, right now is that we as a country, because of liberalism and millennialism or any other kind of ism, have been dumbed down and we're naive that it can't or won't ever happen again. I pray that it doesn't, but when I watched all the tapes this morning, it brought back a feeling, it solidified feelings, that we have to be prepared, we have to watch and be vigilant, and if we see something, we have to say something. Caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning. I just thought I would mention where we were when the 9/11 happened. We had just got down to the VA hospital in Salt Lake, and the entrance that we always went into was closed. And a sign saying we had to go around back, and there was guards back there. And they took the ID and everything and let us in. And when we got in there, there was a lady that said something about the planes from Los Angeles that hit the Twin Towers. And so we thought, well, that was awful. And they have their little TVs sitting all around in waiting rooms. And we got up there, and they were showing some of the devastation, and then here came that other plane. We stood there with tears running down our face because of the awfulness of the situation. We were under attack. And then, of course, we just watched the rest of it happen. And when those towers came down, said, oh my gosh, they look like they've been imploded because they just came straight down. And then that other building, a few buildings over, what was with that? It came down the same way.
You know, and
it's just the most horrible feeling that I've ever had.
Yeah.
For the awfulness that was happening to our country.
Absolutely. You know, I think, and pardon me for saying it this way, Lorna, but I think you'll agree with me. I think it is good for us to remember. I think it's good for us to tell our children. I think it's good to show them the evil in the world that needs to be fought and defeated. But you can't hide history, and when they try to just kind of whitewash it and say, oh, well, we don't want to show it because it might bring up somebody's bad feelings, I think that's wrong. I think we should show people exactly the evil in the world so that we can defeat the evil. What are your thoughts quickly?
I certainly do agree with that. The one thing that came out of this was that it brought this country together because they were all anxious to send the money to help with what was going on back there and help those people. I think that at that time, for the next little while, people were probably closer to God than they've been for a long time.
I totally agree with that statement, and I compliment you for bringing that up. Lorna, God bless you this morning. Thank you so much.
God
Thank
bless
you.
You too.
Thank you.
And God bless our country.
Amen. Thank you. Calls are welcome and appreciated, 436-2244. I am going to do the weather real quick, and then I'll take some more calls. Don't forget Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids with the lovely Dr. Christine Pickup, the only only locally owned and independent hearing healthcare practice in southern Idaho. Number to call and make an appointment for a hearing screening, 312-0957. Let me repeat that again, 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Looks like the air quality advisory has finally been lifted as the smoke is pretty much gone from our area, which is nice. And it's going to be beautiful for today, tomorrow, but maybe a slight chance of some thunderstorms and rain showers as we get closer to the weekend. For today, sunny skies, high of 87. And for tonight, clear skies with low of 58. Tomorrow, sunny and 88. Looks like tomorrow night a storm is going to be moving in. Slight chance of thunderstorms and rain showers with a low of 60 for Tuesday night. And that's going to carry over for Wednesday and Thursday as well. Thursday, 50% chance of rain showers in the forecast with only a high of 69. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. Mount Harrison Audiology, committed to serving each patient and the communities they live in with the best of hearing health care. And believe me, they do. Located right across from the Minidoka Hospital Emergency Room, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. The number to call, 312-0957. Hey, we also want to remind you everyone deserves to feel good inside. And Ramsey Heating and Electric makes you feel good inside your home with indoor comfort that's inside your budget. Get up to a $1,600 rebate on a new Lennox home comfort system. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459 today. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. You know, one of the things that I caught on television this morning, and boy, you're going to have to bear with me. Sometimes I get a little emotional talking about some of this. But one of the things I caught this morning was the flag at the Pentagon that was unfurled over the side of the building where the hole was made by the jetliner. That huge flag came down on the side of that building. And I saw the red, white, and blue of the United States of America flag. And I got goosebumps. I got chills. And it choked me up. And I thought, I love this flag. And I love this country so much. Some of you might take offense as to what I'm about to say, but so be it. Over the weekend, when they were celebrating the opening of NFL football, and I saw a great American football player and humanitarian, J.J. Watt, from the Houston, Texas, come out and wave that flag, and he's so proud to play here in America. And he's raised over $30 million through his foundation to help the people in the greater Houston area. And then at the same time, at other games, I clicked onto and saw the pathetic, selfish, unappreciative black athletes. I'm going to tell it like it is. Not going to mince my words. That should stand and be so thankful. They live here in the United States of America, a land today that's still a land of opportunity for all people. All people. And yet, they show the disrespect, many of them, by kneeling or sitting during our national anthem. I wonder if they really understand what happened on 9/11. I wonder if they really understand what happened over in Benghazi. I wonder if they really understand what America has done for them and what America has provided for them. I wonder really, do they understand? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell.
You know, what's going on today, we take 70-plus years ago in World War II, General Eisenhower came upon the concentration camps and the gas chambers. He told us photographers, you take every damn picture you can take, because someday the world's going to deny it. That's 70 years ago. It's only been 15 years ago with the 911, and they're really trying to shove it under the table. If we don't learn from our mistakes, we are doomed.
Unfortunately, you're right. I agree with you. 16 years, and the public is already forgetting. 16 years, and educators and teachers don't want to bring it up in the classrooms. 16 years, and a lot of people say, oh, well, let's just move on. George, I agree with you 100%. There is so much that we need to remember in our history and our past and be thankful, but also to remember never to let it happen again.
That is true, and if we don't keep that kind of, not out in the forefront of our mind, but keep it in our mind, then we're going to let the guard down, and we're going to get our butts kicked again. I
agree. George, thank you so much. Appreciate it, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. No, as you know on this program, I have no use for anyone that disrespects our flag and our country. None whatsoever. The Bennett boys from both the Seattle Seahawks and the Green Bay Packers, I find their actions and their attitude detestable. Multi-million-dollar athletes living in the only country that would afford and give them this opportunity, and they do the things they do, it makes me fighting mad. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. You know, we are so afraid anymore of offending each other that we are like little cowards hiding in holes, and we wipe out our history, and we don't talk about things. And it's our freedoms are being sucked from us that way. And I wonder if some of this isn't a threat, isn't a way, and doesn't threaten to take our country away from us from the inside.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me back up to what you said at the beginning of our conversation. And you've known me for a long time, Linda, and God bless the fact that I've known you, a great singer and a great person. But one of the things on this program is that I'm never going to worry about. And some people take this as calloused, and some people look down their nose when I say this. But here's the fact, Linda. I am not afraid of offending somebody when I tell the truth.
If we don't tell the truth, we are going to be in far worse trouble. It's becoming pathological that we can't say anything to offend anybody, and yet look at our country.
Yeah.
It's being torn apart by racism. It's being torn apart by groups that are, what do I want to say? They are engaging in causes that are dangerous to our country.
Absolutely. You know,
we need, when we don't talk about what has happened in the past, yes, there have been wrong things done, but at the time, people really thought that it was okay.
Yeah. History.
Now we have to realize, no, it wasn't okay. But if we forget it, as I said, we will repeat it. But we also forget the bravery and the courage that people showed trying to protect our country and fighting for our freedom.
Absolutely. You know,
if we're tearing down our statues and we're taking away our pictures, and we don't want to talk about this for fear of offending people, it is pathological, and it is leading us into a very, very dangerous state.
Linda, I've got to run to go to the news, but I really want to thank you for your very insightful comments. Thank you so much.
Well, God bless you, and thank you for what you've done this morning.
Thank you. Thank you. Very nice lady right there. I wished I had more time in this first hour, but I do not. And we'll try to continue this on again a little bit later on this morning. Thank you so much to our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with a huge big fall tire sale. For your passenger car tires, your pickup and SUV tires for any kind of need. Now is the time to get in there for the big fall tire sale, because doing the right thing matters, and that's exactly the mantra for the Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 of them. And, of course, the best in brake service and front-end alignments and shocks and struts and batteries. They care. Doing the right thing matters. So stop in and check out all the great fall tire sale prices for you and your vehicle with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I want to leave you with this thought for this first hour. Remember and talk about it. Remember and educate our young as to what really happened and why we can't let it happen again. I'll be back in about 7 minutes. Welcome back. Good morning on this very memorable 911. Thank you very much. I want to say how much I appreciate the callers last hour for sharing the various stories, and there were some very interesting stories. Thank you, every one of you. Thank you. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations with a big fall tire sale going on right now, and along with some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Way Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Way Services.
Western Way Services, it's true. They are always at your disposal. You know, check out the dumpsters. They've got dumpsters in various sizes. Maybe you're cleaning out the garage. Maybe you're cleaning out your workshop area. Maybe, like me, I need to clean out this office. I better get a big one. Anyway, they can drop it off. You fill it up, they'll come and get it. Western Way Services, always at your disposal. 734-6969. You call them today. Want to also thank very much the people over at Hanson Mortuary. They are our friends, and they've been on this program for a long, long time. Joel Heward, manager, family, staff, all of them with flexible hours to serve you and your family. They are right there when you need them. And when there's the passing of a loved one, don't hesitate. Please call 436-5636. They always treat you and your family with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. They can, and they will help. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. The number to call, 436-5636. Please remember Hanson Mortuary. You know, there's so many things going on right now in the news, and we're going to have our guest with us in just a moment to talk about more of this. Dr. David Cole, stand by. Want to remind you that when you want to work for a first-class operation and really work for the best, with the best of equipment and a job that pays very competitive wages, please call Scott Jackson Trucking. I know these people, and I'll guarantee you that they absolutely are going to treat you the very best. And they've got benefit programs, and they're not laying off in the so-called slow seasons. They are a team of professionals asking you if you want to join their team. All you have to do is call 208-324-3004. I'll repeat that number, 208-324-3004. Scott Jackson Trucking in Jerome, the industry experts, and they're looking for people to work for them that would join their team of professionals at Scott Jackson Trucking. Right now, let's go to the phone line. I had to wait for a minute. I almost choked to death on my cough drop there for a moment. I apologize. I'm going to have a religion and culture analyst that I've had on the program before, and I've got a lot of respect for this man, a doctor of ministry, American culture enthusiast, and author of the book, What the Church Can Learn from Harley Davidson. Here is Dr. David Cole. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Morning, Zeb. Doing very well.
I apologize, David. I'm just kind of getting over a real rough, tough cold, so bear with me. If all of a sudden you hear some silence, it's because I'm choking on the old cough drop.
Hey, no problem at all.
Let me ask you, David, I'm really concerned, and tell me if I'm right, wrong, or indifferent, that this country, honestly, we're turning our back on God. We're turning our back on religious values. I'm not saying everybody, but the stories I read, I mean, it looks like a diminishment in the value system, people turning away from their churches. Am I wrong?
No, I think you're right. The statistics show that 65% of churches in America are either plateaued or dying. And I think a lot of this is a symptomatic problem due to our American culture today, because we really are a culture of judgmentalism. We love to pass judgment. When it comes to Christianity, if someone's not perfect, then it gives us the right to discount Christianity and say, well, there's nothing to that. But you know, I'm yet to find somebody in America or, you know, even through history who's been perfect.
Well,
what I know is Jesus Christ.
That's right. But why? Why is this happening more so now today than ever before? I thought, honestly, and today is the commemoration of 9/11, and I make no bones about it, the first hour of my program this morning was dedicated to remembering. I have made the statement that I wish every single school would play the tapes of the planes hitting the Twin Towers. We need to remember that there is evil out there in the world. We need to remember that evil has to be thwarted, and you're not going to defeat evil by sweeping it under the rug.
Right. I was listening on the radio coming into the office today. Vice President Pence was sharing there in Pennsylvania where the final airline crashed into the dirt, where 40 heroes on that plane chose to rise up and take the attackers out of the cockpit, and unfortunately all of them gave their lives, but you know, they gave their lives for us. And I think we're missing in some respects that American ideal that this is a land of freedom, and we need to stand up, we need to unite. But unfortunately, you know, media is not helping us. USA Today just came out with another attack on just a couple of days ago. Now they're linking Joel Osteen's prosperity gospel that it's guiding Donald Trump.
Let me ask you quickly, if I could, David, are you on a speakerphone?
I am on a speakerphone.
Turn it off and go to a handheld because the echo is not good. If you would, please, I'd appreciate it. Please.
There we go. Sorry about that.
That's much, much better. Thank you. I want you to repeat a little bit about USA Today, because also in USA Today last week, they had another story which to me was negative against Christianity when they said white Christians decline in USA but dominate the GOP. It was almost like they were slamming the Republican Party and Christians for being a part of a political party. Did you see that story also?
I did not see that one. I saw the one on September 2nd where, you know, they were coming against Joel Osteen.
What's the story from your perspective regarding Joel Osteen and his church involving Hurricane Harvey and helping people in the area? What's your take on the story? I want to hear it from you.
Sure. Well, I think Joel found himself in a perfect storm. He's the pastor of Lakewood Church in Houston, Texas, downtown. His dad was the founder. The church has been around for 60 years, has been a great outward-focused church to the community. They've helped, just thousands of people over the years. But when this hurricane hit in Houston a couple of weeks ago, happened, primarily over the weekend, and they had no idea how bad the storm would be. And so, like any pastor, his first responsibility is to make sure that the church is going to be safe. If you allowed people to come in and victims of the storm stay at the church. Also, there was a large, community housing area just a little ways away. The other arena was open. The city officials had worked ahead of time. They had plenty of space. And there happened to be a few Houstonians that came to the doorstep of the Lakewood Church, and the members of the church there escorted them to the shelter, which I think was the appropriate thing. But when social media got a hold of it, they just really went crazy, began to smear Osteen that he wasn't doing the Christian thing and was locking people out. And unfortunately, it just, continued to snowball, and the media even rose up against him at that point.
What are your personal thoughts? Did Joel Osteen and his wife and his congregate members do it the right way? Would you have done it the same way? Did he also maybe heap some burning coals on his own head by the way he handled it? Give us your gut reaction to the story.
I'm sure that there are many things that he would do differently if he had it to do over again. Probably would have acted quicker to, respond to the needs. I don't know. I haven't talked to Joel, so I don't know, what was going through his mind. I did listen to a lot of the news rolls, and it's just unfortunate that they weren't able to respond quicker. And then, of course, in his message, Joel is a very positive speaker, and if you've listened to him, he challenges people quite often to don't look down, don't let your heart be trodden, but look to God and have hope. But when he shared that over the weekend, people felt like he was talking to the victims of the flood, and how could he be so positive when they're losing everything?
Yeah.
I'm sure he probably wishes he hadn't have made that statement, because it was misunderstood.
But you are absolutely correct in your verbiage this morning about what was handled, what wasn't handled, and I totally agree with you. But I want you to expand a little bit, David, if you would please, about the media and about society today in general that is absolutely, in my opinion, minimizing Christian values and church values. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me?
Yeah, I think overall there is a cultural, disinterest in church, and almost a hatred in church. When you talk to somebody on the streets about church, you see their body language. They immediately are going to say, well, the church is full of hypocrites, and they don't do what they say they're supposed to do, and we'll rattle off all kinds of rationalities. And I think it's an opportunity for the church today just to band together and to demonstrate our love for Christ and for one another in the way that we're called to do. And I was watching Facebook over the weekend and saw the thousands of churches and pastors who are rallying their members together saying, let's spend time in prayer. Let's pray for those in the path of Hurricane Irma, and also let's give to the victims of the flood. And they raised millions of dollars over the weekend. One entity, Convoy of Hope, is postured to go in today and begin to help the victims of the flood. And I know our churches here are helping that endeavor. But there's just this whole negative idea about the church, and I'm not sure how we're going to counteract it. I do think a lot of it is just an anti-God philosophy. Anything related to God is going to be attacked. But our country was founded on God. And as Americans, we have the freedom, the liberty to worship God here in America. And I don't think we should cower down, despite the negativity, despite the judgment. We've got to continue to stand up and band together and not become critical of each other.
Okay, right there, David, you've been on my program before, and I think we have a mutual respect for each other, the way the interviews are conducted and the answers that you gave. I'm just going to ask you simply this. How do we overcome a society and, quite frankly, a news media that is absolutely bent on the destruction and the defamation of Christians and the work that they do, and calling them haters and calling them bigots and calling them all sorts of names to denigrate Christianity? How do we overcome that?
Well, I don't know if we're going to overcome it. I think as long as there's freedom of speech, people are going to be posting articles, and news media is going to be posting articles that will be negative. And now anything that they can find that is pro-Donald Trump, I think they're going to do it, just like this article that came out 2 days ago. And the title of it is How Joel Osteen's Prosperity Gospel is Guiding Donald Trump.
Oh, boy.
And there's hardly anything in the article, no connection between Donald Trump and Joel Osteen.
Yeah.
But isn't it interesting that a headline like that, attracts viewers? And I think this is a sad situation where we're, using false information to attract viewers. And so my encouragement is for, those who are believers, those who are Christ followers, let's not get sucked in to the negativity, but let's stand together. And when, let's say, a pastor does make one mistake, let's not come off with judgmentalism.
Yep.
I think one of the things that the media could have done when this attack came is they could have asked, okay, how many of you who are throwing judgments, how many of you are giving to the hurricane aid? And turn it around and challenge Americans. Let's get behind those that are in the trenches. Joel Osteen is in the trenches. Let's see how we can help him out rather than be judgmental.
And pardon me, David, I'm very blunt, one of the dumbest people and dumbest statements that I have ever heard was by Hollywood actress Jennifer Lawrence, and she said the hurricanes are punishment for electing Donald Trump as president. This is the stupidity that comes out of the so-called elitist class in this country.
It's really sad. It's really sad. Number one, I don't believe God is judging America because of these, hurricanes. We've had hurricanes all throughout the history of mankind. And, Jesus even said himself in the book of Matthew that in the last days there's going to be terrible times. There's going to be earthquakes. There's going to be these kinds of things. But he said, don't be downcast. Don't live in fear, but lift up your heads and know that I'm in control. And so
Yeah, there is a challenge for the church today to just really, rise up and say, you know what, we're not going to fall into this kind of judgment, but we're going to band together even more. And just like on the day of 9/11, when those airplanes crashed into the Twin Towers, we saw such a unity. People got rid of their partisan mentality, got rid of their bias, and said, we have a real enemy that's against us. And I think, we need to renew that today rather than seeing each other as the enemy. We're not the enemy. We're Americans.
Right.
And we need to come together and realize, like you said at the beginning of the show, that there are definite enemies out there, like North Korea and others, who would love to destroy what America stands for.
It's off subject somewhat this morning, David, but I respect your opinion on this program, and I have been referring over the last couple of weeks absolutely to the negativity of many of the black athletes not standing for the national anthem or the saluting of our flag. And here they live in a country that has afforded them everything for playing a game. And I'm absolutely livid after I watched the flag be unfurled over the Pentagon this morning, and I thought of these athletes that really don't appreciate how great this country is and what they have here. It saddens me that those kinds of folks still denigrate our great country.
Yeah, it's sad, Zeb, because I've been all over the world, and, people need to understand that America is blessed, and that's why people want to immigrate to America. We are a land of prosperity. And I believe it is due to the gospel that, America is a giving, generous nation as a whole. And, many churches, many organizations, many businesses are very generous giving in times of disaster. And I believe God has honored America in that. And we've got to go back and look at the fundamental roots of, why America is prospering today. And I believe that the gospel of Jesus Christ does bless. And, it's a gospel of pulling us out of self-destruction into a new lifestyle that is healthy. And, that's something that could help a lot of Americans today.
Absolutely. David, you're a friend of this program, and I'm going to have you back in the future. You can bet on that. Dr. David Cole, Doctor of Ministry and American culture enthusiast and author of the book, What the Church Can Learn from Harley Davidson. Thank you, Dr. David Cole. God bless you, sir.
Thank you, Zeb. You too, and I'll be praying for your cold. Get over it.
Thank you very much, and please come back soon. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. A very nice gentleman right there, Dr. David Cole, and I'm very honored to have him on my program this morning. And yes, the cold will not go away. A lot of people are saying, my poor wife came down with the cold that I had last week. Oh, my goodness sakes, I'm sorry. Hey, whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, or a heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. That's right. Ramsey Heating and Electric, as a Lennox independent dealer since 1957, they know the climate, and they know the equipment, and they've done all the shopping for you. Get a hold of them today. Ramsey Heating and Electric can save you money with Lennox. Call them 678-0459. Absolutely. Also, while we're waiting for our next guest to be on the air with us momentarily, I want to remind you about Let's Ride. Oh, where the fun is sold. That's the original statement, too. The others that you might hear on the radio and TV are copycats. The original, where the fun is sold, right there at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. We went for a little ride on the four-wheelers over the weekend. Oh, my. Even though I had a little cold, it was really a blessing to get up in the mountains and see all the beautiful scenery. The smoke had cleared away. It was beautiful. Now's a great time to go in and check on the four-wheelers, side-by-sides, all of this and much more, along with all the accessories, everything. Great super service department. at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. And yes, it is true. The place where the fun is sold. Let's Ride. Also in that area, over in that neck of the woods or that stretch of the desert, don't forget our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. I mean, they are the insurance professionals with the best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more by people that are really dedicated and responsive to your needs. All you have to do, you got to do a little something. You've got to have the initiative to pick up the phone and call for an appointment at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Absolutely the best. Coming up in just a few moments, it's been kind of musical chairs. Is it going to be Robert Romano or is it going to be Richard Manning? Well, now we found out that it will be Robert Romano in just a few minutes with us on the program this morning, so stay tuned for that. Also want to remind you again one more time about our dear friends over at Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center. That's exactly right. At Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center, at 924 Christian Way in Rupert, they are the only locally owned and operated assisted living facility in the Mini-Cash area, and they really provide more one-on-one care for your loved one. Make an effort, make an appointment, stop in, see them anytime, and you'll find what a wonderful place this is. Great staff and beautiful location, and they've got a fantastic patio in the backyard for barbecues and social events. You're going to love it. Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center, 924 Christian Way in Rupert, where they say we're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. Right now, let's go to the phone line and say good morning, I hope, to Mr. Robert Romano. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for having us back.
I'm glad you're on the air this morning. Give us a little bit of background. You're the Vice President of the Public Policy for Americans for Limited Government. Now, that's quite a mouthful, so what do you do?
Well, we look at issues facing Congress and state legislatures that tend to expand the size and scope of government, and we're going to oppose those. We believe that government needs to get back to its limited constitutional responsibilities that the framers envisioned, and that means doing a heck of a lot less, taxing a heck of a lot less, and spending much less money of your tax dollars, and stop regulating our businesses to death. When we believe that the government that governs least governs best, as Ronald Reagan once said.
Boy, I wish, I hope, and I pray that could come back into fruition again like it should be. What's the number one story that you wanted to talk to me about this morning when we've had we weren't sure if Richard Manning was going to be on or if you were going to be on. Tell me a little bit about the certain story that you wanted to hit on the most this morning.
Well, we think that this new John McLaughlin poll that shows that 68% of Republicans and even 57% of independents want to see new congressional leadership, that they think it's time for Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell. If they can't enact the agenda that won the 2016 election on taxes, on repealing Obamacare, on infrastructure, on building the wall, well, then they're ready to move on to find somebody else who can do that job. Not that they're out of time, but the fact is that the lack of action by this Republican Congress at this rare opportunity for Republicans to enact the policies that they ran on with the House, the Senate, and the White House, that it's going to rub off on them negatively. Just when you look at the poll, you dig into it, you find that actually Ryan and McConnell's support is highest amongst Democrats. Which is to say it's not very high at all. Only 21% of Democrats want to stay, Ryan and McConnell to stay there, but only 14% of Republicans want them to stay in power as the leaders, and only 11% of independents thought that Ryan and McConnell should be allowed to stay on as Republican leaders. So this is a vote of no confidence by the American people. They're looking at the inaction by Congress, and they're wondering what the heck they voted for them for in 2016.
Okay, so, Robert, what do we do? I would love to open the door for Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell and others and say, basically, don't let the doorknob hit you in the posterior on the way out. I've had it with them. I've had it with the infighting. I've had it with the good old boy behind closed doors attitude. I've had it. And I know I represent just one of many, many people right here in this area that are absolutely fed up with the good old boy politics.
Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. There were similar grumblings about John Boehner when he was the speaker, and so I think that even if they were to be replaced, that you face very, very similar challenges. That said, you can look at this debt ceiling, continuing resolution deal that just happened, but the fact is that Jim Jordan on Fox News Sunday yesterday said that Congress didn't present the president with any good alternatives, and that's true. They hadn't even had a meeting about what to do about the debt ceiling until the last possible minute. And that's just unacceptable that they have no strategy, frankly, using these must-pass pieces of legislation to see that the Trump agenda that won the election in 2016 is enacted. Use the CR, use the debt ceiling, use that leverage, and try to get something done. But Congress seems unwilling and unable to do that. And then there's the question of budget reconciliation. The president, by clearing the decks on all the Harvey funding and Irma and debt ceiling and CR, now there's about 20 days left in the fiscal year. They could still do a budget reconciliation bill. It doesn't have to be on repealing Obamacare. They could do one on tax reform or tax cuts. They're Republicans. They're supposed to be able to cut taxes. What Republicans against cutting taxes? This should be easy. If they were only failed by one vote in the Senate on repealing Obamacare, this should pass. They should pick up a few Democrats on this. So where are they, and what are they doing? It's starting to look like they don't want to enact something, and that this is out of malice or obstruction. They're just trying to derail the Trump agenda, and they're trying to get in between conservatives and President Trump and the American people and President Trump. And I got bad news for them. It's not going to happen. They're blaming Congress, not the president.
What about the fact, and I'm going to be fair to the image that's been portrayed, when they had that meeting in the White House, and Trump came out and said, well, we had a good meeting with Chuck and Nancy, and he seemed like he was really kind of buddying up, if you will, to, of course, the Democratic side of the aisle, more so than the Republican. Is this kind of a power play that he's trying to show the Republicans they better get their act together?
The president has been abundantly clear that he believes that the Senate filibuster rule, where you require 60 votes, bipartisan support on every single piece of legislation, is bad for business, and that it's forcing him to deal with the 8 Democrats who actually control the Senate. So what he's doing here is he's just cutting out the middlemen. If the Republican establishment in Congress is content with being irrelevant to the legislative process, and they have been for quite some time now, frankly speaking. I mean, it's sad to say, but the fact is that you require bipartisan support on every single piece of legislation. If that's a bad rule and it doesn't allow Republicans to implement their agenda, they got a simple solution, and the president's already articulated: get rid of the filibuster. In the meantime, he's not going to sit there and play games with hurricane funding when people are underwater in Houston, squabbling over how long the debt ceiling should be extended. So by kicking everything to December, he lives to fight another day, and so does Congress. This is more time to make the case to the American people about what should be included with a continuing resolution, what spending reform should be included with extending the debt ceiling. The fact is, we're going to increase the debt ceiling right now. We're going to pop over $20 trillion of debt. And if we don't get this debt under control by growing the economy and bringing investment back here and creating jobs here, so that, frankly, and, paring back spending, we're going to have a debt crisis that makes Greece look like a bottle rocket.
I agree, totally. Robert, I'm frustrated. Paul Ryan is from my old home state of Wisconsin. As a matter of fact, he was born and raised only about 18 miles from my home. Mitch McConnell has been way too long in representing, if you will, using that term loosely, the people of the United States. How do we get rid of them? Our voices are not heard. When you call back there and want to leave a message or talk to somebody, you get a tape machine that says, "Thank you for calling." I'm fed up with this. What do we do?
Well, naturally, the thing that you're going to want to focus on are the House races that are coming up. look at see where your member is, see how they've been voting. And if they haven't been voting, to get these things done, or if they're unwilling to take on leadership to say that they're going to try to get something done in spite of their reluctance, then that's, I think, where the problem lies. Is that the Republicans in Congress are far too dependent upon these leaders to offer them what goodies they're allowed to get, what scraps from the table they can bring back to their constituents. And I think that's a broken system. And I think that the president's right about those Senate rules. And so the pressure, and the other place to place the pressure is on your senator. If you don't think that requiring 8 Democrats to support every bill that's going to go through Congress is a good system, or that we're going to get anything done under those circumstances, then call your senator and tell them to get rid of the filibuster. Republicans have never had a filibuster-proof majority in the Senate. It's been 100 years since they created the rule and the Senate standing rules of the Senate. 100 years, a century of failure by Republicans, since Democrats always get these super majorities. And they always get the House and the Senate every single time they win the presidency since FDR. They always get the House and the Senate. Now, they always get a filibuster-proof majority, but they sure as heck, they have an emphasis on the first 100 days. I mean, they write a whole fairy tale about how government's supposed to work for Democrats. In the meantime, when Republicans win elections, it's nothing but obstruction, and then excuses about why they just needed a few more senators, or we just need to win a few more elections, and forget it. This is not a patronage. This is not a jobs program for Republican congressional staffers so that they can keep their power. I think the American people are interested in tax cuts. They're interested in building the wall, getting this economy back to work, bringing jobs back to America. And frankly, it's time to put America first and stop putting Congress first and putting their power first. It's disgusting what goes on in Washington, D.C. And that's why the American people, I think, voted for President Donald Trump in 2016.
I agree with everything you said, and I'd highlight every word. Now, let me ask you this. With the Republicans controlling the House, controlling the Senate, and, yes, controlling the Oval Office, and if they are in the same shape they are in now, 1 year from now, leading up to the 2018 elections, will this be the death knell for the Republican Party and the grand old party?
I don't know about that, but it could be trouble in the 2018 midterms, depending on how they're framed. If anything's going to save them, though, it'll probably be President Trump, who will effectively have to go out and say, look, I only have 52 Republicans in the Senate. I need more Republicans in the Senate. And there's a lot of states up that, frankly, that President Trump carried in 2016 that are Democrat Senate seats, in Florida, in Ohio, in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, and so forth. There's a lot of seats, I think, in Missouri, that could be picked up here, Montana, that these seats are coming up, and they're not, they could be Republican seats. And I think if the president gets out there and campaigns, that he could turn the tide on this. It's not a fait accompli that, although this is what usually happens, that the incumbent party of the White House is going to lose seats in the midterm. There are exceptions to that rule. FDR's first midterms, he picked up seats. Clinton in '98 picked up seats. And President Bush in 2002 picked up seats at the first midterms. Usually, though, those are the exceptions. Every other time, the incumbent party tends to lose seats. So how that's framed and how they want to campaign, I think is going to be very important. But that doesn't mean that's not a get-out-of-jail-free card. They need to get their jobs done. They need to affirm that the American people made the right decision in putting these people in power in the House and in the Senate. The president can only do so much, and we have nothing but high marks for him on terms of rolling back regulations and the executive orders that have been coming out that are reducing the regulatory imprint in the nation's economy, and also in taking on these immigration issues and so forth. That we think that the president has been very good at what he's doing at the executive level. But that's not a replacement for Congress that's going to enact law, and that is that's why they are there. And so the idea that it's President Trump's fault that Republicans can't cobble a majority together when they have majorities to vote for anything is, I think that's wrong-headed. It shows the lack of leadership when all they want to do at the end of the day is point fingers, make excuses, and say, oh, just give us a few more seats. Well, if it's coming from McConnell and Ryan, it's not going to be very persuasive. So what the president's going to want to do is get out in front of it and set the stage for 2018 as the way to get his agenda implemented and to go over the heads of Congress.
Let me ask you one final thought here this morning, Robert. The news media in this country is biased. They are like a bowling alley with a gutter on the side. The ball's rolling in the gutter right now, and the media is not going to take it out of there. How does this Trump administration, regardless of all the good things they try to employ for the people of the United States, the news media is going to blast them? How do we overcome that?
Well, the president's just going to keep on doing what he does, which is talk directly to the American people. He's going to continue to hold his rallies, and the American people know how to find information from the president if they follow him on Twitter. If you don't have a Twitter account, just look it up on Google, and you can just read what the president's out there saying on a daily basis. He's still working on draining the swamp and making America great again, and the people, I think, are still with him. Everyone who voted for him, just ask your friends. Do you favor Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell's approach to Republican politics, or do you think the president's the one who is trying to get things done for the American people? And if you think the president's trying to do his job, then you know he needs help in Congress. And so it's going to be a matter of taking matters into your own hands, communicating with your legislators. And if your legislator's not communicating with you, well, then look at who's running in the primary, frankly. It's not nobody is entitled to their jobs, particularly in government. We're supposed to have representation. And if we lack representation right now from Republicans, well, voters are going to be justified in looking for alternatives.
Do you feel, last question, Robert, that this might be a door opener for term limits to be employed in this country?
Well, term limits, if they're going to happen, will probably have to happen via Article 5 type of convention, frankly speaking. You're not going to get two-thirds of the House and Senate to limit their own power via term limits. Now, I'm highly supportive of term limits. I support term limits for the president and for Congress. The prospects for passing them in the Congress, though, I think is extremely problematic when you're asking them to limit their own power. We can't even get them to make spending cuts or tax cuts or repeal Obamacare. We're going to get them to say that, and the only thing they care about is keeping their jobs. So that's the first thing they're going to work on, or probably the last thing in hell they'll ever work on.
I agree. Vice President of Public Policy for Americans for Limited Government, Robert Romano. Robert, God bless you, man. Thank you so much. Excuse me for choking. I got a cold. Excuse me very much, but come back soon in the future if you would, please. We'd love to have you back on the program.
I sure love to, and God bless to your listeners, and feel better.
All right, thank you very much. I apologize for choking on the air like that, folks. This cough and this cold won't leave me, and now my poor wife has got the same cold, and she's out in the other room with a box of tissues going, I don't feel so good. I know, I'm sorry, dear. Time for the weather. Excuse me, time for the weather. Trying to keep the tones. The weather brought to you this hour by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. CPAs that have been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. The very best of tax return preparation, tax planning, and business consulting, bookkeeping services, retirement planning. The list goes on and on and on and on as to what they can do to help you, your family, and your business. Please get a hold of them today. Offices in Burley and Rupert, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's the weather.
Looks like the air quality advisory has finally been lifted as the smoke is pretty much gone from our area, which is nice. And it's going to be beautiful for today, tomorrow, but maybe a slight chance of some thunderstorms and rain showers as we get closer to the weekend. For today, sunny skies, high of 87. And for tonight, clear skies with low of 58. Tomorrow, sunny and 88. Looks like tomorrow night a storm is going to be moving in. Slight chance of thunderstorms and rain showers with a low of 60 for Tuesday night. And that's going to carry over for Wednesday and Thursday as well. Thursday, 50% chance of rain showers in the forecast with only a high of 69. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
And thank you very much. Brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. CPAs, they can do so much to help you, whether it's something with your bookkeeping for your business, what computer program to use, or perhaps changing retirement plans, getting on Social Security. All of these questions and more. They can help and they can answer. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. CPAs serving this area for well over 50 years. In Burley and Rupert. Right now, I really would appreciate your phone calls. Save my voice a little bit this morning, so give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. We'll talk about anything you want to talk about for the remainder of this hour. Let's see, what else have I got here? I saw a bumper sticker this weekend, and it just brought to mind that there are many people in this area that have a different viewpoint. This bumper sticker was 2 words, and it said, "Welcome, refugees." It was a Twin Falls County vehicle, and it brought to my mind that I really wonder, if the people are supportive of all the refugees coming into this country, all the refugees coming into this area, all the, the different cities of help and aid to the illegal immigrants, the sanctuary city type atmosphere, do they really understand what's happening to the infrastructure and the feelings and job and hope of all Americans? A country that's going to fall apart at the seams is a country that's inundated with people that are on your welfare systems, people that are here illegally, and all the people that are here taking jobs away from other people. I know we're a nation that better get up and go to work. I know that we're a nation that we'd better start discerning who really needs the care and the welfare and who is going to be left alone on that limb, so that maybe they'll start creating some self-responsibility and learn to take care of themselves. But after this last weekend of listening to let's welcome everybody in. And then last week, that one commentator on the news saying, how many people, she was asked, how many people would you like to see come to this country? And she said, and I'm not making this up, she said, 1 billion. Very flippantly, she said, 1 billion with a B. And I about fell out of my chair. This country overnight, literally, with those kind of horrendous thoughts and possible happenings, could put this country completely down even lower than a third world status. 1 billion people more? They don't think. They being the millennials and those that really don't understand the infrastructure, the economics, the education, the job statuses, the housing. They don't understand. And so when they say, welcome, come on in, who's paying for it? Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This Thursday, while I'm waiting for your call, I'm going to tell you this. This Thursday, we're going to be over at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley for our Hats Off to Farmers and Salute to Patriots Week. It is a very special event. We've done this for years and years and years. And we're going to have a lot of the veterans coming by, and we're going to have a lot of visits with them about their service to our great country regarding Patriots Week. We urge a lot of the farmers in the area to come in for the Hats Off to Farmers campaign. All of this and more at Ramsey Heating and Electric. And at 7 o'clock in the morning, an hour before we start our broadcast, George Mass is going to be there serving biscuits and gravy. Oh, it is good. good, and the proceeds are going to go to help the Zeb's Christmas Corral, to where we can help some of the needy families at Christmas time. So don't forget, that's this Thursday at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb. I don't know why they didn't say $20 trillion. We just will match our debt.
Yeah, really, you're right.
Does that not make some sense?
Well, I'm listening for you. Normally, you pick up the ball and run with it. It's absolutely asinine for people that supposedly should be very educated and knowledgeable to think that you could increase and say something so stupid as to, let's just bring in $1 billion. Do you realize where that would put the United States underwater permanently?
Well, I think $20 trillion would be far better. That way we would never get out from under it.
Well, it's a totally facetious and totally ridiculous figure, and some of these people supposedly in the know that are interviewed on national television news broadcasts, I wonder if they have the combined IQ of an ice cube.
Yeah, and I would probably guess, if I had to, that person that said they wanted 1 billion people to come in was probably working for CSI or the Times News. I would say that would be their mentality.
Oh, Jerry, I can't argue with you there. God bless you, my dear friend.
I'm all kind of in a ornery mood.
I am too, Jerry. Thank you for your call as always. God bless you. Thank you.
Yes, may the Lord bless you and all of them little guys out there listening to you. You have a wonderful day.
All right, sir. Thank you. I want to wrap up this hour by saying this. Dr. David Cole, a little bit ago, said the same thing, and I want to reiterate it, that I would really ask that we pray. Now, there are those in the audience that are going to go, there he goes. He's going to talk about prayer. Yes, I am. I pay the bills on this program. I'll talk about anything I want to. And I am going to mention prayer for our friends in Texas and our friends in Florida and all the hardship that they're going through. People have lost everything they have. They've lost their houses. They've lost perhaps the ability to go to their jobs. They've lost their transportation. Many didn't have insurance. They've lost everything. The same can be said for Florida. We're looking at some really tough times right now. And I ask my audience tonight, maybe when you kneel down and thank the good Lord for a good day that you've had, remember the people that are not having such a good day. And they're staying in a shelter. And they don't know what they're going to do. Let's all try to pray for these people and the circumstances for our United States of America. We're going to take a little break for about 7 minutes, and we'll be back with more Zeb at the Ranch right after the news. Good morning. Welcome back. Welcome back. Cold and all, sore throat and all. Good morning and welcome back. Hey, don't forget, Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with a great big fall tire sale right now. And, of course, some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Hey, by the way, don't forget on Thursdays, we have a special segment on Thursdays at 10:10 called Cassia County School Days, and our 2 sponsors of that segment are A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. Don't forget they've got all the baby clothing, all the baby furniture. They've got, for the ladies, all the new fall dresses arriving, and, of course, games and books and puzzles. It's true. It's A Child's World. Right there at 1308 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see them today. And Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue, Suite E in Burley. Number to call and find out how they can save you money on your outpatient surgeries like life-saving colonoscopies, carpal hand tunnel surgery, and many, many more. Is 677-8888. That number again, 677-8888. Along with the Ambulatory Surgery Center, A Child's World, bringing you on Thursdays at 10:10, School Days in Cassia County. Want to also remind you real quick about our friends over at Ark Animal Hospital. Hello, Dr. Bill. Hello, all the folks over there that really, really care for animals. It's a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small. They love them and take care of them all. That's right. And they've been voted Minnecache's best veterinary hospital again, multiple times. Dr. Bill, everybody over there, they really, really care. Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street, near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. Number to call, number to remember, 678-1177. They do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Right now, let's go to the phone line. And every single time I have attorneys with this organization on the air, we really learn something. And we have with the Pacific Legal Foundation attorney Brian Hodges. Good morning, Brian. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing very well.
You know, is it safe to start off our conversation by saying this, that Seattle, Washington has turned into perhaps an evil Robin Hood?
I think that would be appropriate, yes.
Would you give us just a little bit of a synopsis, kind of a thumbnail sketch, if you will, to set this story up, about how those that want to try, those that want to succeed, those that want to make something out of their life are now trying to be penalized by the city of Seattle? Go ahead, take it from there.
Yeah, well, let me give just a little brief background to set the story up. Washington State is very unique in that we achieved statehood so late that the people who wrote the state constitution had witnessed the factionalization that occurred that led to the Civil War and the attempts to sort of repair relations. So our founding fathers were very cautious about the power of government. So we have a very libertarian constitution. One of the protections that our founders wrote into the Constitution was this idea that if the government is going to tax any class of property, it has to do so in a uniform fashion so that you avoid targeting certain classes of people, to punish certain classes of people. And our Supreme Court has, on multiple occasions, I think 5 times over the past almost 100 years, said that income is property, and therefore, if you're going to tax income, it has to be uniform across all income levels. The quote-unquote progressives in Seattle don't like this. They want targeted income taxes, especially because Seattle has seen so much remarkable growth and innovation as the headquarters of Amazon and biotech. There are a lot of people who are doing well. And the city council wants to get something from them. So flouting this 100 years of Supreme Court precedent, the city, acting without leave of the state legislature, acting without a vote from the people, adopted a so-called, they're calling it a wealth tax. What it really is an achievement tax, because these people have worked hard to make money. And it goes beyond these people. It goes to anybody, especially small business people, who bring in $250,000 or more a year gross, are subject now to a so-called wealth tax. Now, we all know contractors, for example, bring in a lot of money, but they don't take a lot of money home.
That's right.
So it's a tax on people attempting to achieve or do better, which is very regressive.
Let me ask you this, if you would, please, Brian. What kind of a tax rate increase or percentage increase are they demanding that these people pay?
Well, this is one of the problems that we have with the new tax schemes is that it sets an interim rate. First of all, it imposes an income tax on everybody, but it sets for anyone making under $250 a year gross at 0% for the time being. Those who make more than $250, 2.25% to begin with. This is going to be reviewed every year. So this is just an attempt to get the issue. You see, Seattle, instead of following what the Supreme Court said back in 1951. The Supreme Court said, you may be having more difficulty raising revenue to operate a city or a county, but the constitutional way of opening up new revenues, such as a targeted income tax, is to go to the legislature, try to amend the Constitution, or get a referendum of the people. The city has been playing this class warfare game by targeting who they call the ultra-wealthy when, frankly, it is a large chunk of money when you look at it as a gross figure, but we're talking, people's net income is much less than gross. And living in Seattle costs a lot of money, so they're trying to fan the flames of class warfare in order to slip this unconstitutional tax by people's notice and to avoid them and circumvent the legislature and the will of the people.
This is so ridiculous, and you brought up a really good point that I'd like you to elaborate on. You could have a guy that maybe runs a lawn care company, and he's got maybe, let's say, 8 employees, and they're running all over Seattle trying to take care of lawns and hedges and shrubbery during the summertime. Yes, his gross might be $250,000, but you're lumping him, a guy that's barely taken enough home to pay the bills, in with fictitiously saying the owner of the Seattle Seahawks football team. That's absolutely stupid.
Yeah, that's one of the main points that we've made and other plaintiffs have made about this, is because this is just a cynical attempt to use the courts to do what the legislature has to do. And as a side note there, on multiple occasions, cities and special interests have tried to get the legislature to approve an income tax, a targeted income tax like this, and it's been rejected every single time. But they're trying to really distort. They didn't think this out. And this is going to harm so many ordinary middle-class people, and we all know that the middle class is the one being very strained and really can't take any more of a tax burden.
What about the look or the attitude or personality of the businesses up there in Seattle? Are they not outraged? Are they not banding together and putting their shoe on the desk and demanding that this change? What's the mood up there?
There is a lot of outrage, and this is already affecting the city of Seattle. Just last week, there was talk that Amazon had been proposing to open up another center in Seattle, but there's pushback now because one of the things that makes Washington so attractive to these cutting-edge firms like Amazon, like Intel, Microsoft, Boeing, is that we have had no income tax, and so we can attract very good employees. If people are going to be subject to an income tax, and an income tax that can change every year, we're going to be losing those jobs. And already there's talk as to whether Amazon is going to locate its second headquarters in Seattle or not because of this.
Mm-hmm. What
huge impact to our local economy.
What is the mood overall from the people that live and reside up there in that area? I mean, this isn't the first idiotic thing that's happened up in the Seattle area. Wheels over at the main station, ride the game. We're getting a lot of feedback here. But the people up in Seattle, they must almost look at the city council and the powers that be with a real cynical outlook because they've done a lot of stupid things up there as of late.
Yeah, they've been on quite a trajectory lately. Just to summarize, recently, in order to try to battle unconscious prejudice, or the chance that people are acting without knowing it in a prejudicial manner, they enacted an ordinance that prohibits landlords from selecting from among qualified applicants, requiring them to take the first person who files an application for tenancy without regard to any personal information, an interview, meeting the person, walking through an apartment with them. Recently, they just passed another ordinance that bars landlords from even considering or looking at somebody's criminal history. So you could be forcing somebody, ironically, this is supposed to battle in disparate treatment,
right.
But ironically, you could be forced to give an apartment to somebody who's been convicted of hate crime.
Yeah.
It's unthinking social justice, and that's what this is. When this income tax was first proposed, they were calling it the millionaire's privilege tax, and that sort of shows the mindset that they're coming from.
What about Pacific Legal Foundation? I mean, you guys are involved right now, and I know that you do an excellent job. What do you hope to win in this case, or do you plan on showing the public and the Northwest how stupid this is and getting the whole thing thrown away?
Well, we want the whole thing thrown away, but the most important thing from a constitutional perspective is for Seattle to win, it's going to have a court attack the characterization of income as property. While the city just wants to do that for the purpose of opening up another revenue source, the result of that would be horribly damaging. There are a number of laws that require that rely on the characterization of income as property. For example, criminal laws, when they prohibit stealing property. Cases have relied on the early tax decision saying that income is property in order to convict people for stealing an income stream. So the mischief that could occur if Seattle was successful in redefining income as property would be enormous and would have very broad ramifications because we'd lose essential protection to our income, which is, to most of us, to anyone with common sense, that is property. I put in my blood, sweat, and tears for that paycheck. You can't have it without complying with the Constitution.
Absolutely.
Primary reason why PLF is involved. Also, just to make sure that our constitutional system of governance is respected. That if the people of Washington want to amend the Constitution to allow for targeted income taxes, the proper way is through a constitutional amendment that gets both buy-in from legislature and from the people.
Absolutely.
And we have to protect that, otherwise our Constitution becomes a meaningless document.
Let me ask you a final thought here, Brian, and then we have a call. I'll ask my question after we take this caller. Caller, quickly, you're on the air. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think this is a disgrace, but maybe he could comment on this, because I know of two families that have moved out of up there and taken their businesses with them and left. So, anyway.
Okay. What about the deterioration and the leaving of various businesses? Have people had enough and they're not going to take an opportunity that this law or regulatory excise tax might be repealed? What's going on up there?
Yeah, well, the squeeze is already on. Property costs a lot of money in Seattle. This is sort of the dirty secret is taxes in Seattle, even though there's no income tax, taxes are very high. The city requires a very large payments for property taxes. There are various excise taxes. The business tax alone is driving, those very people who are going to be targeted, who are going to be the most impacted, like we were talking about contractors, small businesses that maybe gross a large amount of money but net very little. This is just going to be one more tax on them that's going to take away that last mortgage payment and force them out of the city.
You know what?
Seeing people moving to areas where their commute is upwards of 2 hours a day just to get to the city in order to have an affordable house.
Oh, my.
So, yes, that was a very good comment that this is yet another squeeze when we're pretty much squeezed dry.
And let me ask you this, Brian. What have you found if the Pacific Legal Foundation is not successful in this court case? Do you see, as maybe other cities on the left coast, such as Portland or Sacramento or San Francisco, etc., is there a possibility of a snowball effect for other cities and other states to try to pick this up?
Yeah, well, this would give a head of steam to local governments, because typically income taxes are decided by either the federal government or state government, and local governments don't have say in that for very good reason, because could you imagine if you had to pay federal, state, county, city income taxes, there'd be nothing left at the end of the day. But if Seattle was able to railroad this targeted income tax through, and if its arguments were successful, particularly its argument that income is not property, well, then other cities will be looking at this decision, and cities that are revenue-strapped, unlike Seattle, may actually find it worth it to take the gamble to alienate its people in order to increase revenues.
I wish you a lot of success. Please tell my listeners how they can follow this case along with other cases with the Pacific Legal Foundation.
Yeah, you can find information about this case, which is entitled Shock the City of Seattle, on our webpage at www.pacificlegal.org. We also keep up to date with linking to a blog that we maintain where we keep up to date with case developments, and you can look for individual cases or practice areas on our main site and get summaries, get access to pleadings, and blog posts where we discuss the issues with more depth.
All right. Thank you very much, Senior Attorney with the Pacific Legal Foundation, Brian Hodges. Thank you for being on the air, and all I can say is good luck. I hope you win this case, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. You imagine you work hard and you've got a lot of employees, or maybe you've got just a few employees, and your gross income $250,000 or more during the year, and bang, they're going to nail you with an excise tax on your income up in the city of Seattle. And can you imagine what's going to happen, or what could happen, if that same mindless thought was picked up by other cities, San Francisco, even in this area? Oh my goodness, penalizing the people that work and then turning around and giving assistance to those that won't. Ridiculous. Calls are welcome. I've got time for another call. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to remind you that there's going to be another car show coming up, and it's going to be the Mobile One NASCAR and Car Show at the Grease Monkey at 517 2nd Street in Rupert, and it's going to be this next weekend on the 17th. And I urge you to be a part of it from 9 in the morning until 2. They're going to have the Mobile One NASCAR and Car Show at the Grease Monkey over in Rupert. A couple of other public service announcements, something to put on your calendar. Don't forget that Minidoka County, the Memorial Hospital is going to present the Family Health Fair, and this is going to be on September 30th, Saturday, September 30th, from 8 until noon at the Minidoka Memorial Hospital. And the health fair profile, $40. Tests include various tests, blood tests, total testosterone tests, many more. And I urge you to be a part of this. Be sure and remember, put it on your calendar, the Minidoka Memorial Hospital Family Health Fair on Saturday, September 30th from 8 a.m. until noon. Let's see, what else have we got here real quick? Oh, one more. Let's see. No, I guess that's it. I want to remind you, too, about Denny's football trivia contest. On Thursdays at 9:15, we give away a Grand Slam breakfast from Denny's restaurant in Burley. Don't forget that, at 611 North Overland in Burley. And all you have to do is answer our football trivia contest, and you could be the lucky winner at Denny's. And that's of course, America's Diner, located at 611 North Overland in Burley, the Denny's Football Trivia Contest for a Grand Slam breakfast. As I said, we've got time for a couple of calls, and coming up this next hour, and for some reason, Wheels, you've got to turn up what you're feeding me coming down the line. We had a little trouble hearing our last guest, and if you could boost that up a little bit, I'd sure appreciate it. Coming up next hour, I've got a dear friend of mine from Utah that's going to be calling in, and it's Marty Mickelson. And I'll give you a little background on what we're trying to do. We are going to be asking you if you have any cowboy boots that maybe you're not wearing. Maybe they're in real good shape, but they don't fit you anymore. Maybe it's a style that perhaps you don't want or don't care to own anymore. And we're going to be collecting boots for Texas, and we're calling it Booting Harvey Out of Texas. And we've got a trailer that's going down there in the not-too-distant future. We're going to be telling you all about how we're going to collect all this. These people have lost everything. I talked to some folks down there in the last couple of days, and they said, we haven't got any footwear, we don't have any clothing, everything is either rotted or it's underwater, it's not worth anything anymore. And during the course of one conversation, it was brought up to my attention. This one gentleman I was visiting he says, I lost all my cowboy boots. I lost them all. And he said, I used to have a really nice collection I was very proud of, and he said, they're all gone. I used to wear boots every day, and now he says, I'm wearing a pair of sneakers. And it brought to my attention a lot of people have lost their boots. And so we're going to start a collection for cowboy boots. I've got about 3 or 4 pair we're going to be sending down. They're in excellent condition. I just don't wear them anymore, and quite frankly, my feet got a little big. So we're going to be sending them down there. I've got alligators, I've got some ostrich, I've got all kinds of good boots. And Marty Mickelson's going to be on the air this next hour, and we're going to be talking about that. So stay tuned. Right now, we're going to send it back over to our main studios, and we'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
You know, there's a lot of opportunity in the Magic Valley, and there's a lot of opportunity for you to join in a great opportunity with Scott Jackson Trucking. Absolutely. Scott Jackson Trucking in Jerome, the industry experts, and I'll tell you what, they really care. They've got jobs available that pay very competitive wages and benefits, and they don't lay off folks in the so-called lay-off slow seasons. They'd like you to apply. They'd love you to be a part of the professional family of Scott Jackson Trucking. All you need to do to find out more is call 208-324-3004. I'll repeat that number, 208-324-3004. Equipped with great equipment, veteran drivers, and backed by knowledge of management that really wants you to succeed. Scott Jackson Trucking, you call them today, 208-324-3004. Also want to remind you, too, about our friends. Everyone deserves to feel good inside. And Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox makes you feel good inside your home with indoor comfort that's inside your budget. Find out more. Get up to a $1,600 rebate on a new Lennox home comfort system. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. Right now, we say good morning to a long-time friend, and that's Marty Mickelson. Marty, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good. Good morning, Zeb, and good morning to all your listeners.
Marty, it was almost like a God's blessing that you called me last week. My wife and I were thinking of a unique way of maybe helping the folks down in Texas, and you and your son Hayden called me last week and kind of got the ball rolling. Give me a thumbnail sketch of what you and your son think we can do to help the people down in the greater Houston area.
Well, one of the things in my business, and you just had the Scott Jackson advertisement on, but we haul purebred livestock across the country, and we haul a lot of 4-H steers, and we have actually, good clients in your area. So we had some calves to go to Texas, and the seller had made those arrangements, and he called and said, hey, they can't take those calves, and these are 4-H kids, because he says, well, they don't have any way to feed them. And so that's when, on a lot of windshield time, we got thinking about, how can we help those guys? And there's a lot of efforts. You hear of a lot of things that are going on in Texas. There's big things going on. There's a lot of money being donated. I think I heard yesterday J.J. Watt has raised $20 million and that, but that stuff does not get to these kids. And so we thought, I'm thinking, let's go through the FFA chapters and let's do something. Then I asked my son, you need a project for school there at Utah State, and he said he did, and so I kind of turned that over to him, and he's actually in class this morning, but until he won't be able to join us. But and then so I said, well, I said Zeb Bell's a friend of mine. That's a perfect way to get the message out, and so that's when we called you, and you have even probably a better idea to go with what we're doing, and they go hand in hand.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing and how what you're going to deliver is going to get there. And then also give us your thoughts on booting Harvey out of Texas. What do you think about the gathering and the putting together of the various sizes, etc.? I've talked to some people down there, Marty, and one of the gentlemen I talked to, I just talked about on the air about 10 minutes ago. He had a collection of boots and Western footwear, and it's all gone. It's all gone. And when I mentioned possibly sending boots down, he absolutely lit up like a Christmas tree and said, people would really appreciate that. Pick it up from there.
Okay, so in talking with Zeb, Zeb had the idea. He said, well, Zeb goes to his closet and looks in the closet, and there's 4 or 5 pairs of boots that, are all shined up and, nice boots that you haven't worn. And and so I said, what? I've got boots in my closet that I haven't worn. The dang things keep shrinking on me, So that was a great idea. And so what we're doing this week is we're going to take some trailer loads of little bales of hay and some grain that's been donated, and Gosner's. You have the plant there in Burley. Gosner's is donating a pallet of milk. It's $1,000 worth of milk.
Marty, hold on just a second. Marty, can you hear me? Marty, can you hear me for a minute? Marty, just a second. We're having trouble hearing you, and I don't know if it's because the cell phone is shorting out or whatever, but do not move and hold that phone perfectly still. We're having trouble hearing you. Start over again about Gosner's, etc., what you were saying, because we did not hear that.
Is that better?
Much. Hold still.
Okay, I'm parked, sitting still in the parking lot at the Utah State Fair, but so Gosner's is, they're giving us $1,000 worth of milk. They're at the pallet, and we're going to take that with us. And we're going to leave here. I guess our date actually of leaving here is the 21st. And if we get more than one trailer load, we'll take another trailer load, and we'll donate the time, the equipment, and that. We've got some people in Ohio that have heard about it that are sending some money to help pay for some diesel. Just with a collective effort, we can make a difference, but we didn't want it to go to the big spots. So this is going to be and we've talked to the FFA advisor there in your area. They're going to have a meeting in the morning. He's going to run it through his chapter officers. The Skyview chapter in our area is on board. We've told it to a couple other chapters, and they said, if you guys don't do the boot thing, we're going to do it on our own. But it's going to take about a month to get that thing organized and all those boots collected. But when that's done, then we'll take them down there, and we'll pay for we'll pay for getting them down there and stuff. And hopefully we got a whole pair of them.
Okay, now, Marty, here's...
We can put a lot of boots in a 30-foot trailer.
Absolutely. Marty, here's what I would suggest. We've got a little delay there, but Marty, here's what I'm telling my people, starting as of right now today. Excuse me, I'm telling everybody, go to your closets, check out if there's a pair of boots. I want them in good condition. I don't want anything that's all knocked out at the sides and the heels are no good. I want some good quality boots that you no longer wear. I don't care what they are. I ask you to take a magic marker and write on the sole, on the bottom, the size and the width, and I'm going to come up with a collection point as of tomorrow on our program, and we're going to start collecting these boots and get them all shined up and ready to go. And what do we do from that point? Do we keep in touch with you?
Yeah, I'm Hayden, and he's developing a little website or something, and he just, with school and everything else, and that's why I say it's going to take some time. But our ideal goal is to have that opportunity for every FFA chapter in Idaho and in Utah, and then when our time, whether it's the end of October or the middle of October, it's going to take about a month. We'll contact everybody. We'll make a run from Coeur d'Alene all the way down through the state. We'll get them things all gathered up. So what we're going to ask every chapter to do, and we're a little premature on getting that asked, we'll ask every chapter to go out amongst the community and gather that up, and then we'll get them picked up from every chapter and get to one point.
Okay.
We've got some more stuff in the works with that program, and we'll be able to give people more information, through your program as we progress.
Okay, now here's what I'd like you to do is have Hayden, your boy, call me tomorrow morning before 8 o'clock, and we'll schedule some time to get him on the air tomorrow morning. And during that time, I'm going to be calling a couple of businesses here locally that I'm going to ask them if they could please be the kind of the stop-off point for these boots to be dropped off, and I'll have that information by tomorrow morning.
Okay, and Hayden will be able to give you more information at that point in time too, because we'll have a spot or two in Cache Valley that we can do that also.
Okay.
But if anybody wants to send, more than just boots, if you want, if you got a good pair of tennis shoes.
Yep.
Things like that. And then as I think of that, we've got a couple companies in Cache Valley that make socks. I'm going to go to those companies and try and get some socks in there, too.
There you go. Marty, let me ask you, have you been in the area of the greater Houston area since they've had Hurricane Harvey strike? Have you personally seen some of the devastation?
I've seen videos is all I've seen. Now we're going, I've got one of my drivers that was down there last weekend, and he said some of that stuff's pretty bad. He's in Indiana now and headed back there tomorrow. There's some of those places, I mean, it's just, we complain if we get 2 or 3 inches of water in our basement.
Yeah.
These guys, I mean, they just lost, like you're saying, they've lost everything. I mean, they don't have a home to go to.
What about the livestock?
It's going to be, oh man, I just can't imagine.
Yeah. Marty, what about the livestock business itself? What about the feedlots? What about the horse operations? What about the livestock industry down there? Were they able to get most of the livestock out and to higher ground, or what's the status, do you know?
Yeah, one of the guys that we dealt with has got a big hog operation, and he's in Anderson, Texas, which is, close to Beaumont down there. He said, I'm on higher ground. I'm okay. But, I'm learning a lot about things I didn't know. The horses, if they stand too long in water, it really affects. Then they've got medical issues with their skin and on their feet and stuff like that. So another thing that they need is some medical stuff. But I don't know. I don't know what it is medically that they need. I'm just not up to the snuff on that. But everything I saw, cattle being driven out of there, up to their necks in water and stuff, I think they got everything out of there. I'm sure there was some deaths and stuff like that, and there was some horses that I saw videos of that had been standing, on higher ground for, a few days, and they just couldn't. They just had no way to get feed to them.
Right.
I know there's some helicopters flying feed into the areas. Cattle and horses will naturally gravitate to higher ground if they have the ability to do that. So they were airlifting, they were airboating feed in there.
Marty, can you imagine?
Another part of the problem is, after a flood like that, they can't grow anything. It'll be next growing season before they get any grass to grow back.
Right.
All the debris. It's dire straits.
Marty, can you imagine the loss? And I'm sitting here thinking of another aspect of this. All the tack, all the saddles, all the blankets, all the bridles, all the equipment, everything that literally is going to be destroyed because of the water situation seeping in and just ruining the leather. The list of what these people has lost down there is absolutely astronomical.
Yeah, you just brought up another really good point. How many saddles, how many of, how much tack? It's just, you're exactly right. They just, our little trailer isn't going to be much, but it's something.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've found out with human nature, a lot of the times, the people that are least able to help are the ones that are the most willing.
I agree. Marty, I've got to run. I've got to get a weather forecast on. Tell Hayden to call me tomorrow morning before 8 o'clock. I really want to visit with him. And I say this and I mean this. God bless you and your son and everybody else for helping. Let's make this a big project, and I'm looking forward to working with you.
Thanks, Zeb. You listeners have a great day.
God bless you. Thank you. Marty Mickelson, a dear, dear friend. And we're working on booting Harvey out of Texas. And we're looking at delivering boots. I'm sure, and I know myself, I've got boots that I haven't worn in years. And they're in excellent shape. Excellent shape. And the old feet, they seem to have changed their form a little bit. And so maybe you've got some of the same type of boots in your closet. I've got, like I said, some good alligators and some ostrich boots and other kinds of leathers. And I think we can really put together a trailer full of boots and footwear for these folks down there in Texas. So help me. And tomorrow, I'm going to have a recipient point as to where you can drop those boots off. Now, please, don't just bring garbage and trash and some old boots that look like they've been standing out in the feedlot for the last 10 years. I want to have some good quality footwear we can ship down there. And like I said, take a magic marker and write on the bottom the size. I'd really appreciate it. And tomorrow we'll have, like I said, some drop-off points so that you know where you can help out, okay? Right now it's time for the weather, and the weather is brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Oh my, their retail meat department, delicious, let me tell you. And so many things to talk about, whether it's the bratwurst or the pastrami or the salami. I could go on, all the way up to prime rib. I'm telling you what, all of it's delicious at Scarrows Meats. Number to call, 324-7657. They're located at 331 North Road in Jerome. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Looks like the air quality advisory has finally been lifted as the smoke is pretty much gone from our area, which is nice. And it's going to be beautiful for today, tomorrow, but maybe a slight chance of some thunderstorms and rain showers as we get closer to the weekend. For today, sunny skies, high of 87. And for tonight, clear skies with low of 58. Tomorrow, sunny and 88. Looks like tomorrow night a storm is going to be moving in. Slight chance of thunderstorms and rain showers with a low of 60 for Tuesday night. And that's going to carry over for Wednesday and Thursday as well. Thursday, 50% chance of rain showers in the forecast with only a high of 69. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. Brought to you by Don Scarrow and the crew. Hello, Don. How you doing? It's Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time at Scarrow's Meats. You know, last week, my wife and I had a chance to take a tour of Pomerel Place in Burley, located at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. The number to call, number to remember, 677-8212. Pomerel Place, a place for senior living. I was absolutely impressed. And if you're a senior living alone, or if you have a senior in your family that you're looking for a place where they can be comfortable, a place where they have great dining and activities and recreation and all different amenities to serve them, I suggest you call the number today, 677-8212. Pomerel Place, senior living at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. Wow, we've got a full plate tomorrow on the program. We're going to have national security expert Herb London on the program, and we're going to be talking to Dr. History. We've got all kinds of good folks. Plus, I've got a telephone call right now. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Deb. You know, you tug at my heartstrings, the good that you're trying to do. And you are truly an American. You have a powerful microphone. And I hope people will adhere to what you're saying, because we could be in that same position someday. And I'm sure those people of Texas would be there to help us, too.
You know, I appreciate that. Your remarks are very kind, and I appreciate them. But I look at all the boots, and quite frankly, maybe I've got an overabundance of boots, and I do. It was kind of a collecting point in my career in the rodeo business. But I've got a lot of boots I don't wear, and they're excellent leather boots of various leathers. And I'm just asking people to go to their closet, pick out the boots they're not wearing anymore. These folks down in Texas absolutely have lost everything. And footwear is very important. And can you imagine a Texan without a pair of boots? Well, that's exactly what's happened. They've lost all of them. So please help me out on this. And tomorrow I'll name some drop-off points. But Keith, I thank you for your kind words.
Yeah, remember, you can't get anywhere in Texas without a pair of boots.
There you go. God bless you, man. Thanks. I got to do a commercial and wrap it up, but thank you so much.
You bet.
God bless. Don't forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my goodness sakes. They are celebrating right now a fall tire sale, and they've got the very best of passenger car tires, pickup and SUV tires on sale for the fall. Like for your car, the Eclipse tire, starting at just $63.99. Premium traction, superior ride quality, ready for you. You stop in and see them on that tire today. And don't forget they have the absolute very best in brake service. Highly trained brake technicians ready to serve you. Front end alignments, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and more at all 7 locations. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Big fall tire sale. Serving you at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Well, like I said, a big day tomorrow, and we're going to have Hayden Mickelson on the program with us tomorrow morning, and he's a student at Utah State University, and we're going to talk more about the boots and how we can get them all collected and send them down to Texas. Marty, of course, is going to donate his trailer and his truck. I mean, we're going to make a big deal out of this. So we'll have more information on that tomorrow, along with a lot of top guests that you'll hear and see on a national basis. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow morning at 8:06. We'll ride the horse for 3 hours till 11, right here on Zeb at the Ranch, where we always say the way things were are the way things ought to be. God bless you and your family. See you tomorrow morning at 8:06.